you haven't already, drop a follow. We're live every single night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome in. My name is Austin, and it's good to have you here. Now, I would love to drop into I would like to talk about today. So FCA. I spoke for the first time ever. It was crazy. And God definitely showed up. It was really, really cool. I was speaking on just the value of the Bible, all the value that it has, and what people perceive it as, and what people like, the way people just like, it's not something that everybody accepts. A lot of times people think it's a book of rules that just tells you all the things that you can't do. And I spoke on that. So I started off by asking everybody, and I talked a little before that, but I started off by asking everybody. And I told them, I was like, I'm going to need a volunteer, right? But then I said, but before anybody raises their hand or anything, just know this isn't going to be easy. You could be going against some of the things that you feel like you want to do. And so I basically made it look not appealing at all. So very few people would choose it. Purposely made very, very few people even budge. And I practiced it that way because I was like, I really want to see what will happen if I do absolutely nothing and I make it look terrible, right? And nobody raised their hand, and I was like, yes, perfect. And then I go, you sure? Nobody at all? And then one girl raises her hand, and she was in the front row, and she came up. Her name was Hannah. And then as soon as Hannah got up there, I said, awesome, Hannah, it's nice to meet you. My name is Austin. Thank you so much for saying yes to this, right? And then I reached into my pocket and I pulled out a wad of cash. It wasn't like a crazy amount, but it was a $50 bill, a $20 bill, a $10 bill, a $5 bill, and a $1 bill, right? I pulled out this whole thing. And immediately, everybody in the crowd goes, like they knew they should have done this, right? They knew they should have said yes. They knew they should have tried it. And I go, okay, great, right? So I'm opening up all of the bills. Cash is gold. I know, it's crazy, and especially like a $50 bill. I open it up, and I lay out the bills in front of her, right? One bill, in a line, and she stands on the far end of the line. And then I told her, I said, before I get into this, I want to let you know that I have your best interest at heart. I want you to succeed. I want you to win everything here. She was like, am I actually able to take some of this money? I said, you have a chance to win any one of these bills. And then she goes, oh, okay, let's do this. So immediately everybody was like, wait, I regret not yes and not doing it, which was exactly what I wanted them to feel. And so the first one, I said, there's two ways of going about this. I said, you could either try to figure out the rules yourself, but you can very easily be disqualified because you don't know the rules, right? You could be very easily disqualified. And then I could just tell you the rules. I could show you, I can guide you through it because I wrote the book. I wrote the rules to this game. I was the one who created it. So I tell her, okay, I can either just let you figure it out, or I can tell you the rules. And she goes, I want you to tell me the rules. And I go, okay, well then let's get into it. So she's standing on the side of it. The $10 bill's up first, and I go, all right, so it says here, I opened up my book. I had like a little notebook, and I put it to my chest, and I said, this is really precious to me because this is where I keep my secrets. This is my notebook, my journal. And I open it up. I said, it says here, step number one is step in front of the $10 bill. And she steps in front of it. And I said, okay, great. That's a great job. Good stuff. And then I go, okay, now before we go any further, I want to let you know something. If you step past any of the bills, like you leave them in the past, if you step past them, you disqualify yourself from getting any of those other bills. So if you're in front of it, you could have it. But if you pass it by, you can no longer have those bills. So there's no going backwards, right? There's no doing redos. She goes, okay. She knows, and she sees the 50, because the 50 is all the way at the very end. So she's like, I'm headed for that 50. She gets to the second one, which is the $5 bill. And I take away the $10. I'm like, yes, amazing, right? And I give her specific instructions on how to get to the next one. So I go, okay, and this all went, I'm explaining it in depth, but it all went really smooth. I said, okay, step back a couple of steps and then scoot over to the second one. She scoots over to it. I pick up another one. I said, how do you feel right now? You just gave up 2 opportunities. And she's like, I feel okay because there's still a bigger one in head. I get, okay, next up, I want you to jump. It says to jump on 1 foot and jump over to the next one. She jumps over to the 20, loses the 5. And I said, oof, this is kind of crazy, right? And I said, make sure not to touch your heel on the ground, because if you touch your heel on the ground, then you disqualify yourself from even playing the game. And I promise all this is going to make sense. And then I go, all right, do you want the 20 or do you want to keep moving forward? And she goes, I want to keep moving forward. And then I guide her over to the 50. Now, by this time, the $50 bill is right next to the $1 bill. And she was standing here on the $50. And I told her, I said, do you remember what I told you in the very beginning? And she goes, yes. You have my best interest at heart. I was like, I do. I have your best interest at heart. And I want you to win this game. And so I said, I want you to trust me right now and step off of that $50 bill onto the $1 bill. No matter what it looks like, I want you to step off that 50 onto the $1 bill. And she pauses, she hesitates. She's like, oh, right? Thinks for a second and then takes a step. What time is it? Yeah, we're good. She thinks for a second and then she takes a step. And then I immediately do this. I said, woo, thank goodness. I go over, I slap my hand on the ground. I pull up the $50 bill. I said, this is the cheapest game I've ever played. That's a big step. Trusting a $50. She could have gone home with the 50, but there was a $1 bill there. And I grabbed it off the ground, and everybody laughed, and I was like, that's the cheapest game we've ever played, right? And then I go, all right, you're here right now. How does it feel? And I can't remember what she said. I think she said something like, it feels like she missed out, right? I said, but I told you I had your best interest at heart. And I said, here's what it says in the instructions. Congratulations, you've made it this far. You have won the game. Please collect your prize, right? And I said, and then she bends down, picks up the dollar, looks super disappointed, and she just pauses, and I wait. And I go, is there anything else on that dollar? She looks at it, and she turns it over, and the dollar on the back of it says, good for $100, right? And then I pull a $100 bill out of my pocket and raise it up above my head, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, what? And then I gave her the $100 bill, took the $1 bill, and the look on her face was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, could I give you a hug? And then I was like, yes. And so I gave her a hug, right? And the whole reason for playing that game, and her name was Hannah. She was awesome. And the whole reason for playing that game was this. It looked like she was passing up a lot of different good opportunities. It looked like the things that God had for her, or it looked like the things that the world had for her, the fun stuff. It looked like I was just telling her, like, you need to I don't want you to have any fun. But here's the thing. All of those things she was avoiding so that she could get the most out of life, so that she could win the prize of the biggest, right? She could win the biggest prize. And she had to trust that I had her best interest at heart. And when she did, she finally saw at the very end, even though it did not look like she was going to make it, it did not look like there was going to be a good payout. She followed through, trusted me, and it was amazing. And I related that to the Bible and how God looks like sometimes he doesn't give you the girl you want. He doesn't give you the guy that you want. He doesn't give you the money that you want at the time. He restricts you from certain things, not because he doesn't love you, but because he wants the best for you. And the timing of it and how you do it is so specific that he needs to guide you through. And so that is how the FCA went. And like 15 people raised their hand to give their lives to Christ to have a full and satisfying life. And so that's what it was. And it went off good. Praise God. Thank you, J-Mab. I felt like you guys would be proud of me for that because you guys are all teachers and stuff. And when I was speaking, they were like engaged and they were like listening. There's very few of them like with their eyes wandering. They were all pretty much engaged. And I thought that was really cool. Thank you. Thank you, TMC. Thank you, J-Mav. Esmeralda, that's awesome. What an interactive and captivating example for them. Esmeralda, that was all God. I was literally in here till 3 a.m. last night, like doing this game on my floor, not knowing how the rules were going to work, how I was going to explain it. Like, no, I had no idea at all of any of it. And then it, like literally probably 5 to 10 minutes before I left, came together, and I was like, oh wait, that's how we need to do it. And it came together. And by the grace of God, it ended up okay. So I'm happy that happened. Oh, I'm so happy that it ended up that way. So happy. Anyway, way to go. I have to make things relatable and engaging to kids. You did a great job. Thank you. Teach that actually means a lot. That actually means a lot coming from you. Because I know you're all in that. Does it make you want to do more speaking engagement like that? Honestly, I'll probably, like, if God calls me to, because I definitely felt like I was supposed to say yes to Noelle when she asked. And if something comes up and I feel like I'm supposed to, I'm not going to turn it down, especially if I feel like I'm supposed to. You know what I mean? But as of right now, for me, it's so tiring mentally. That is a muscle that my brain has not ever used. So you never turn the sisters down. I love them so much. They're amazing. The more you do, the easier it gets. No, you're right. You're so right. And I'm excited for, like, if he has something like that in store, come on. That's like amazing. That's something exciting. That's really, really exciting. So why not? You know, why not get excited about it?